Normally this episode would have been about the Miami GP, but I forgot to hit record in the replay, so sorry about that. But Charles Leclerc won from George Russell, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Tony Griffin, Fernando Alonso, Valtteri Bottas and Kevin Magnussen. Lando Norris as well, finishing P10. In the Drivers' Championship, now Charles Leclerc has a 28-point gap at the top from Max Verstappen and Carlos Sainz. And in the Constructors, Ferrari lead from Mercedes-AMG Petronas Formula 1 team by 58 points. So sorry about that again. Hope you enjoyed the Spanish Grand Prix now. Bye. So advancing to qualifying, me and Liam were P10 and P13 after the flag in practice 3. So that was a good result and I have high hopes now for qualifying as Liam seemed to go well around the circuit. So using 8th gear, DRS and ERS wide open going down the main straight, into turn 1, braking and going down to 4th gear and going up the gears now into 6th, going through the long right-hander of turn 3. We get it a small bit wrong and use a small bit of runoff in the process. Going down to turn 4, a lot of drivers like Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen found that corner difficult in real life with the wind coming straight into them. Turn 5 as well was difficult using third gear and going up the gears as we head down the hill. into turn 6. Difficult corner as well, don't run wide or else you'll be beaching those curbs and you'll go flying off into the barriers. Going up the hill now with DRS wide open into the new turn 9. It's a long left-hander now this year, and when you're going up the hill using 4th gear, 5th gear and applying heavy throttle into the next corner using 4th gear, going wide and cutting back in like Lutfield in the British Grand Prix, and now into the disgusting chicane that Barcelona has. 3rd gear, 4th gear, 5th gear and power now through the final corner, and that's your lap.
The Spanish Grand Prix has been a permanent fixture on the Formula One calendar for over 30 years now, and for good reason. Do you remember Michael Schumacher's absolute dominance here in that rain-soaked Grand Prix in 1996? That day he took his first ever victory for Ferrari, and we've had many more iconic moments since. It's a sellout crowd of 140,000 here today as we await lights out for the 730-metre sprint down into Turn 1. This is a 2.9-mile racetrack. Overtaking is challenging through the 16 corners, but there's still a lot of high-speed excitement to be found, including the flat-out Turn 3 and the terrifying blind right of Turn 9. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And starting next to them is George Russell. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Sainz, Sergio Perez, and Magnussen. Ricciardo, the owner driver, Tsunoda, and Alex Albon. Gasly, Norris, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Latifi. Liam Lawson, Bottas, they've taken a grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, and Fernando Alonso. Vettel, Joe, Stroll, and Esteban Ocon lines up at the back of the grid. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race. And joining me again for the race today, Natalie Pinkham. Can we begin by having a chat about Charles Leclerc? That was a great win in the last race, but can they keep that momentum going into this weekend?
Well, there are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out will have boosted their confidence coming into this race.
So, the Spanish Grand Prix Round 5 in Season 1 is about to get underway with you head to 5 red lights and it's lights out and away we go. Charles Leclerc gets a good start, but George Russell's also challenging him going down to Turn 1. 900 metres to run down to Turn 1. We'll see who come out on top. Russell has the inside line going down to Turn 1. Will he have the edge over the Ferrari? Yes, he does, going around the outside into Turn 3. He holds his line and he's ahead of the dominating Ferraris that have been mighty this year, but going down now in the tricky braking zone of Turn 4. George Russell maintains the lead of this race. Tony Griffin got a good start and he's up into P7. His rival now, Daniel Ricciardo, behind him as well. So, lap 1 is coming to a close here at the Circuit of Barcelona, Catalonia, and you can also see the rallycross track on the outside there, which is a cool feature, like Monza, that it has as well. Charles Leclerc is trying now again, 4 tenths behind. Here's Russell. Here's Griffin on form for a good result now at the Spanish Grand Prix. P7, if he can just hold this together, although who's behind him, Yuki Tsunoda, is going to be charging after him. 7/10 the gap now at the moment. Fascinating actually is the two McLaren cars are down in P9 and 11, and last time we were here for the pre-season shakedown in 2022 in real life, the two McLaren cars were showing good pace and Lando Norris was actually fastest after day 2. So on board with Charles Leclerc now, chasing after George Russell. Let's go on board. So Leclerc, he's going to be going down into turn 1 now with that rear wing flap open. He'll be going down now with an extra 150 brake horsepower. Charles Leclerc is going to try and power past that Mercedes of George Russell, but he gets through, but George Russell isn't going without a fight. Now Russell got back his lead now, and Leclerc has to settle for P2, but going around the outside now again is going to be Leclerc. He's going to try again now, going down to turn 5. The Monegasque has got the position on Russell, or so we think, and George Russell's going round the outside, going now down into turn 7. Leclerc has the advantage now. Russell going round the outside as we go up into turn 9. Russell has the lead on lap 4. A great ding-dong battle throughout the first 10 corners, and it's not going to be dying down anytime soon as Charles Leclerc looks around the outside, but there's no gap, only gravel. So George Russell leading now by 4/10. He's extending the gap now again to try and run away from the Monegasque driver of Charles Leclerc. And Leclerc is in. There must have been some damage on the Ferrari. The Ferrari is limping back to the pit. He wouldn't have been changing his tyres or anything, but he's going for a front wing change. Let's see this now. Oh, this is so frustrating to watch. The championship leader is going to be set back a considerable amount of points here as Max Verstappen moves up in the P2. He's getting the move done on Carlos Sainz. We can't see that right now as we see Griffin battling with Tsunoda. This is heartbreak at the highest level. The championship leader Charles Leclerc is in, going down to P21. I think Esteban Ocon also had to pit, but we just didn't see that earlier on, as Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen are having a ding-dong battle as well here. Carlos Sainz getting back ahead of the Dutch champion of the world, George Russell in P1, comfortably now from Carlos Sainz at his home race. And Lando Norris having a last lap battle, last couple of corner battles, as George Russell comes through to win the Spanish Grand Prix in Season 1, his first ever Grand Prix victory. And that was a great win from the Mercedes outfit. And also Tony Griffin defending off his rival Daniel Ricciardo at the end as well. Hamilton picking up 1 point in that Mercedes.
Which has paid off in spades. A great victory here at the Spanish Grand Prix. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Well, Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. Driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
There are a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out.